The void stretched infinitely, a silent ocean of stars, cold and indifferent. Amid it floated the SS Resolute, a human vessel alone in a sector dominated by the Vorath Dominion, a fleet known for crushing every opposition without hesitation. Mara Dax, captain of the Resolute, scanned the distant blip growing larger on her sensors. It was the Vorath warship, massive, bristling with weapons, its hull reflecting the pale light of distant suns like a predator's eye. Every officer on the bridge held their breath. The aliens were confident. They expected humans to panic. They expected immediate surrender. Mara's voice, calm but steely, cut through the tension. "Prepare shields, weapons standby, they think we'll yield." Her crew moved with precision born of countless drills and battles. Lieutenant Jorik Vance checked the tactical feed, fingers dancing across the console. "They're closing in fast, boarding drones ready to deploy. They assume fear will paralyze us." Mara's eyes didn't leave the main viewport. Her reflection in the glass was sharp, unyielding, determined. They've underestimated humans before. They'll regret it again. A sudden jolt rocked the Resolute as the first energy blast struck. Alarms screamed, red lights painting the bridge like fire. Mara gripped the console. "Return fire! Target their weapons arrays!" Plasma bolts tore through the darkness, cutting trails of light that illuminated the alien warship's jagged hull. The humans dodged with agility, weaving through asteroid fragments and debris like dancers in zero gravity. The Vorath leader, Overlord Turix, barked commands in a guttural tone, his voice amplified across the comms, full of arrogance. "Surrender now, humans. Your resistance is meaningless." Mara's reply was a whisper, yet it resonated across the bridge with unshakable authority. "Try it." The battle raged, but amidst the chaos, sensors detected a massive anomaly beyond the fray. A colossal energy signature, unlike any weapon they had encountered, pulsed rhythmically, almost alive. Lieutenant Vance's hand froze mid-command. "Captain, I don't think this is part of the fleet. It's something else." The crew stared at the readings, fear and curiosity entwining. Mara's jaw tightened. "Unknown, evaluate, stay alert. This changes everything." Suddenly, the alien assault intensified, their drones weaving around the human ship, expecting panic and surrender. But Mara's crew had no fear. They returned fire with calculated precision, exploiting every flaw in the Vorath formation. Explosions lit the dark, creating ghostly flares against the infinite backdrop of stars. Then it happened, a violent shockwave rippled across the void, striking the Resolute. Lights flickered, systems hummed dangerously. The alien fleet froze mid-attack. Even Turix's voice faltered as sensors struggled to detect the source. The colossal anomaly was moving closer. It was massive, almost predatory, yet elusive. The crew exchanged anxious glances. Mara's mind raced, calculating possibilities. It could destroy us, or it could be an ally. Mara leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "All hands brace for impact. Stay focused. Whatever that is, we adapt. Humanity always adapts." The Resolute shuddered again as the unknown entity drew nearer. Its energy pulsed through the ship's shields, testing, probing, almost as if it were studying them. The silence that followed was deafening. The Vorath, once so confident, now hesitated. Mara exhaled slowly, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. Every instinct screamed danger, yet an undercurrent of hope stirred. Humans were resilient, unpredictable, relentless. The galaxy might underestimate them, but today the Resolute would prove that assumption wrong. And in the endless darkness, a shadow moved, colossal and unreadable. It watched. It waited. The battle had only just begun. The Resolute drifted in the void, wounded but alive, as the colossal energy signature loomed closer. The crew's fingers hovered over controls, hearts pounding. Lieutenant Jorik Vance stared at the tactical feed, voice barely a whisper. "Captain, it's not a weapon. It's alive. Something massive, a predator." Mara's eyes narrowed. She didn't flinch, though her chest tightened. "Then we make ourselves unappealing prey, adapt, survive, outthink it." The Vorath assumed the humans were panicking, but Mara's crew was nothing if not disciplined. The alien drones surged forward, a lethal swarm designed to overwhelm. Mara gave crisp orders, evasive maneuvers, concentrated fire, decoy flares. The bridge erupted in controlled chaos as the crew executed every maneuver with near-perfect precision. Resolute weaved through asteroid debris like a ghost, narrowly avoiding plasma blasts and fragment collisions. Suddenly, the massive entity unleashed a pulse of energy that sent a shockwave tearing through space. It wasn't aimed directly at the ships, at least not yet, but the effect was immediate. Shields faltered, weapons went offline, and both human and alien fleets were thrown into disarray. The Resolute shuddered violently, throwing crew members against bulkheads. Sparks rained from consoles, alarms shrieked, and the air felt charged, heavy with tension. Lieutenant Vance gritted his teeth. "It's scanning us, measuring, assessing." Mara's gaze swept over her crew. Fear flickered in their eyes, but it didn't dominate. She forced her voice steady. "Focus. Every instinct matters now. We survive by moving faster than they anticipate." The Vorath were equally unnerved. Overlord Turex barked orders in frustration, his drones hesitating for the first time. He had never encountered an unknown force that disrupted even their precise, centuries-honed assault patterns. And yet, even the alien leader's arrogance could not mask his growing concern. Humans weren't just reacting, they were improvising. The Predator's pulse intensified, shaking the Resolute. Mara's heart raced as she realized the entity wasn't attacking conventionally. It was testing them, probing weaknesses in both shields and nerves. The human crew had to respond instinctively, relying on training, gut feeling, and courage. "Divert all auxiliary power to shields," Mara commanded. "Prepare for sudden maneuvers, ready countermeasures." Engines roared, firing bursts of speed, twisting and turning the ship like a dancer in zero gravity. Explosions from the Vorath fleet streaked past, illuminating the human faces in flashes of fire and fear. Ensign Leah Chen's hands shook, but she maintained deadly precision, firing plasma bolts that carved arcs through the alien drones. And then the Predator acted. Its form emerged briefly on the sensors, enormous and shifting, as though alive with thought. It moved with purpose, precise yet alien, its energy rippling through the void like the heartbeat of a celestial leviathan. The crew fell silent. Even Mara, seasoned and unyielding, felt a shiver run down her spine. This was no mere weapon. It had intelligence, awareness, perhaps judgment. And in that moment it became terrifyingly clear. It could destroy them all, human and Vorath alike, with a single thought. Mara clenched her fists. "We won't be prey, we adapt, we survive, and we fight. That is humanity." The Resolute surged forward, weaving through debris, avoiding pulses of raw energy, and exploiting the confusion among the alien fleet. Every evasive maneuver was calculated but unpredictable. Every plasma burst was aimed with precision born of desperation and courage. The Predator observed, silent, assessing. And then, for a brief, horrifying second, the pulse centered on the Resolute, shaking the ship to its core. Sparks flew, lights flickered, and the hull groaned. The Resolute trembled under the Predator's pulse, lights flickering as alarms screamed. Crew members clung to consoles and railings, faces pale, eyes wide with fear. Mara Dax steadied herself, fists tight, heart pounding, not with panic, but with the unyielding resolve of a human who refused to yield. She could feel it, the presence watching them, judging them, calculating their every move. "Captain," Lieutenant Jorik Vance said, voice trembling. "It's adapting to our maneuvers. Every tactic we use, it anticipates." Mara's mind raced. Humans were unpredictable, but against something this vast, this intelligent, would unpredictability be enough? She had seconds to decide. "We're not fighting conventionally anymore. We survive by thinking differently. Every instinct counts." Then a shimmer of light appeared in the middle of the bridge. A holographic figure, ethereal, shimmering, impossible, materialized before them. It was not human. It was not Vorath. Its form pulsed with energy, shifting like liquid starlight. Its voice wasn't spoken. It resonated directly in Mara's mind. "Do you wish to live?" The crew froze. The Predator's pulse faded slightly as though it sensed the new presence. Mara's instinct screamed caution, but she didn't hesitate. "Who are you?" she demanded, though the voice bypassed ears entirely. "I am the Luminari. You face annihilation, yet you adapt. I offer aid at a choice." Lieutenant Vance's fingers twitched over controls. "Captain, trusting it could destroy us." Mara's gaze swept over her crew. Their fear was palpable, but so was determination. Humans never surrendered, not like this. "If we don't accept, we die. If we do, we survive. I'll take the risk." Jorik, integrate its interface with the ship's systems. Now. The Luminari's energy pulsed through the Resolute. Systems hummed differently, shields flaring brighter, engines responding with instantaneous precision. The ship moved like a phantom through the debris-strewn battlefield, dodging energy blasts with fluid grace. The Vorath drones faltered, confusion spreading among the alien fleet. Even Overlord Turex noticed the change. His voice, once full of arrogant certainty, trembled over the comms. This vessel, it is not human alone, it adapts too quickly. Mara's lips curved into a grim smile. Humanity's greatest weapon was unpredictability, creativity, and now, alliances forged under pressure. She commanded, "Engage evasive maneuvers, focus fire on their weapons arrays. We're not just surviving, we're countering." Plasma bolts streaked across the void, arcs of light and death illuminating the battlefield. The Predator loomed nearby, massive, shifting, still watching. Its pulse throbbed with intelligence. The Luminari's energy interfaced seamlessly with the ship's AI, allowing the Resolute to predict, anticipate, and counter in ways that no human or Vorath mind alone could achieve. The crew marveled at the seamless integration, yet unease lingered. The Luminari's presence was alien, unknowable. Could they trust it fully, or was this just another form of cosmic judgment? Then came Turex's counterstrike, a weapon of unimaginable scale rumored to erase entire star systems. Mara's chest tightened. The Resolute and its crew had seconds to act. "All power to shields," she ordered. "Prepare for instantaneous warp if necessary. We survive no matter what." Energy flares danced across the hull. The Predator pulsed, watching. The Vorath flagship charged, bristling with weapons. The battlefield became a deadly chessboard, humans, aliens, Predator, and now the Luminari, each move calculated, each moment fraught with danger. Mara exhaled slowly, jaw tight, eyes fixed forward. She didn't know whether this was salvation or a test. But she did know this: humans never gave up. Humans never surrendered, and today, in the void of space, they would prove it once again. The Resolute hummed with tension, systems glowing under the Luminari's guidance. Mara Dax's eyes scanned the tactical display, calculating impossible angles, anticipating enemy reactions before they happened. The Vorath flagship loomed ahead like a jagged mountain in the void, its hull bristling with lethal weaponry. Overlord Turex's drones swarmed in relentless precision, confident the humans would buckle. They underestimated human adaptability, and that was their first mistake. "Engage forward assault," Mara ordered, voice sharp, cutting through alarms and blinking console lights. "We're not just surviving, we're fighting back." Lieutenant Jorik Vance's fingers danced across the controls, initiating evasive maneuvers while firing precise plasma bursts at weak points in the Vorath formation. The Resolute weaved through debris, asteroid shards, and laser fire, becoming a phantom in the chaos. Every move was calculated but unpredictable, frustrating the alien attackers. On the bridge, Ensign Lia Chen's young face was pale, streaked with sweat, yet her hands fired the turrets with deadly accuracy. Mara met her gaze. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action despite it. The flagship's shields flickered under concentrated fire, its confidence cracking. Mara pressed her advantage, directing a risky maneuver. The Resolute dove through a field of volatile asteroid fragments. Explosions erupted as debris collided with drones, plasma bolts streaking the void in a chaotic symphony. The humans exploited every opening, every flaw, every hesitation. Suddenly, the Predator's pulse flared from the darkness, shaking the Resolute violently. The crew gritted their teeth, clinging to consoles as the hull groaned under the energy surge. Mara's mind raced. This was no conventional opponent. The Predator wasn't attacking yet. It was observing, calculating, learning. "Divert auxiliary power to shields and engines," Mara barked. "Focus fire, keep moving." The Luminari's energy intertwined with the ship's systems, predicting enemy fire before it arrived, adjusting trajectories with impossible precision. The Resolute dodged and struck back with uncanny efficiency, each movement a blend of human instinct and alien intelligence. Overlord Turex roared into the comms, fury breaking his disciplined tone. "You are nothing. Surrender now or die." Mara's reply was steel. "Try it." Her voice carried the weight of humanity's defiance. The Resolute surged forward, weaving between blasts, weaving through danger like a living weapon. Explosions painted the void in violent streaks of orange and white light, illuminating every strained, determined face aboard the human vessel. The battle intensified. Mara's mind calculated a final gambit, a direct strike at the flagship's weapons core, high risk, potentially catastrophic, but the only way to tip the scales. "Prepare boarding protocols," she ordered. "We hit them at the heart, every second counts." The crew readied themselves, hearts hammering. Engineers jammed systems, soldiers armed plasma blades, all knowing that success could mean survival and failure annihilation. Mara's gaze swept the bridge. Every officer, every crew member had a choice, fear or courage. Humanity had chosen courage. As the Resolute approached the flagship, a sudden warning pulse flashed across the sensors. The Luminari's energy surged urgently. "They are not alone," it whispered. Myra's pulse quickened. She knew the battlefield had shifted. Another force was moving unseen, adding chaos to an already impossible fight. The humans held their ground, weaving through a storm of enemy fire, chaos, and uncertainty. Mara's voice was calm, resolute. "We survive, we fight, we win. That is humanity." Resolute surged forward, shields flaring, engines screaming as Mara Dax's eyes darted across the sensor readouts. The Vorath flagship was only the first obstacle. The real threat had yet to reveal itself. A massive fleet had warped into the system, dozens of vessels shimmering into existence like phantoms, far larger than anything the humans had anticipated. Mara's stomach sank. They were outnumbered 10-1. "Captain, they're everywhere," Lieutenant Jorik Vance muttered, fingers trembling over the console. "We can't outgun them." Mara's jaw tightened. Fear was a luxury they couldn't afford. "Then we outthink them, adapt, every move counts. Focus fire on their formation gaps and use the debris. Chaos is our weapon." The crew sprang into action. Engineers rerouted power to shields, weapons, and engines, improvising defenses from fractured systems. Soldiers armed boarding pods, plasma rifles, and explosive charges, ready to strike at vulnerable ships. The Resolute darted through asteroid fields and discarded wreckage, creating unpredictable angles and disrupting enemy coordination. The Luminari's energy pulsed within the ship, guiding movements with unerring precision. "It's analyzing them," Vance breathed. "It's faster than we are predicting every maneuver." But even the Luminari seemed uneasy. Its energy flickered, almost anxious, pulsing faster than ever. Mara noticed the subtle warning in the patterns. Something darker, older, and far more intelligent than either human or Vorath was approaching. The predator in the void, previously mysterious and distant, was now only the beginning. The Vorath fleet adjusted quickly, launching concentrated volleys toward the Resolute, attempting to corner it. Mara's heart pounded as explosions ripped through the void. The ship shook violently, sending sparks and debris across the bridge. Crew members struggled to maintain balance, eyes wide with fear and determination. Ensign Leah Chen's hands flew over the plasma turrets, firing with lethal precision. Each shot shredded drones and fighters, creating breathing room amid the chaos. Mara's mind raced. This wasn't just a fight, it was survival against impossible odds. Suddenly, a cloaked vessel appeared on the edge of sensors, silent, invisible, moving like a predator in shadow. Mara froze. "That's not Vorath," she said, voice tight. "It's something else." The Luminari's pulse intensified, almost warning. "It watches, it learns, it will strike without hesitation." Mara's chest tightened. They were trapped between the massive Vorath fleet, the predator from the void, and now an unknown force lurking in shadows. Every human instinct screamed danger, but retreat wasn't an option. Mara's gaze swept the bridge. "Listen to me," she barked. "We fight smart. We survive by being unpredictable. Jorik set decoys. Leah focus on disrupting their drones. Everyone else prepare for boarding protocols if necessary. We adapt. We survive." The Resolute darted through the debris, firing bursts of plasma and releasing decoys that disoriented the enemy. The unknown cloaked ship mirrored their movements, almost mocking them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Mara could feel it calculating, waiting for fear or hesitation. A sudden shockwave from the cloaked vessel slammed into the Resolute, shaking the ship violently. Alarms blared, consoles sparked, and crew members were thrown against bulkheads. Mara gritted her teeth, gripping the railing. "Hold steady, every second counts." Explosions lit the void, asteroid debris streaking like comets around them. The human crew, though outnumbered and outgunned, fought with relentless courage, exploiting every weakness, improvising solutions, and staying ahead of calculated death. The Resolute trembled violently as the cloaked vessel closed in, its silent form impossibly massive. Mara Dax's jaw was tight, her mind racing through countless scenarios, each more desperate than the last. The Vorath fleet pressed relentlessly from one side, while the predator in the void pulsed, assessing their movements like a celestial hunter. And now, this unseen force was cutting off every avenue of retreat. Lieutenant Jorik Vance leaned over the tactical display, voice tight. "Captain, we're trapped. There's no way out. If we engage them head-on, we're annihilated." Mara's eyes swept the bridge, locking on every crew member. Their faces were pale, trembling, but resolute. Fear was present, but courage ran deeper. Humans never surrendered, never gave in, and never abandoned hope. She drew a deep breath. Then we survive the only way we know how, by being unpredictable. Prepare the warp sequence. I'm taking us through the heart of the enemy formation. The crew froze, warped through the enemy. It was madness, a gamble that could annihilate them all in an instant. "Captain, some of us won't make it," Jorik warned, his hand hovering over the emergency override. Mara's voice was steel. "Then make sure the rest survive. Humanity doesn't fight for ourselves alone. We fight for each other. Do it." Engineers rerouted power from non-essential systems, overriding safety protocols to maximize speed and shield output. Soldiers armed boarding pods and plasma cannons, ready to strike at the first opportunity. The Resolute became a living weapon, its hull groaning under the strain, shields flaring brighter than ever. The Luminari pulsed violently, integrating with every system. Its voice whispered directly to Mara's mind. "This will cost you, but it is the only path to survival. You must commit fully." Mara nodded, her chest tight with fear and determination. "We commit, all in, no hesitation." The Resolute surged forward, engines screaming, weaving through the dense mass of Vorath ships. Plasma blasts streaked past, drones disintegrated in arcs of orange and white light, explosions throwing debris into the void. Mara's crew fought desperately, boarding enemy vessels when possible, sabotaging weapons and creating chaos in the alien ranks. The cloaked vessel moved silently beside them, almost watching, almost waiting. Its pulse intensified, shaking the Resolute. Mara's fingers gripped the console, every second feeling like an eternity. The warp core reached critical output. Mara's mind calculated the risk. If the jump misfired, the Resolute would be torn apart. Yet hesitation was death. She took a deep breath. "Initiate warp, on my mark now." The stars stretched into lines of white light, the ship screaming as it tore through space at unimaginable speed. Explosions erupted behind them, debris scattering like fireflies in the void. The crew clung to consoles, eyes wide with terror and exhilaration. Mara felt the ship's very bones shudder, and for a heartbeat she feared she had miscalculated. Then silence. The Resolute emerged in an open sector, battered, smoking, but alive. The Vorath fleet was scattered, the cloaked vessel retreating into shadows, and the Predator remained in the distance, observing. Mara's chest heaved. Her crew looked at one another, exhausted, bloodied, but alive. Jorik exhaled, voice hoarse. We survived." Mara's eyes scanned the dark horizon. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. Whatever that Predator is, whatever watches us, it knows we exist now, and it will not forget." The Resolute drifted through the scattered remnants of the battlefield, its hull scarred, shields flickering, engines groaning under the strain. Mara Dax stood at the bridge, her jaw tight, eyes scanning the void. The Vorath fleet had been shaken, but not defeated. The cloaked Predator had vanished, its presence lingering like a shadow in their minds. And somewhere, lurking beyond the edges of their sensors, a new, unseen threat waited. Lieutenant Jorik Vance's fingers flew over the console, recalculating trajectories and targeting solutions. "Captain, the Vorath flagship is still operational, albeit badly damaged. They're regrouping for a counterstrike." Mara's eyes narrowed. She could feel it, the hunger in the alien commander's eyes, even across the void. Tureks had underestimated humans, and he would not forgive that mistake. "Then we finish it, prepare boarding protocols, target their weapons core." The Resolute surged forward, a wounded but determined Predator of its own. Plasma bolts streaked through the void, illuminating the faces of the crew in flickering bursts of fire and determination. Engineers jammed enemy systems where possible, while soldiers readied boarding pods and plasma blades, prepared to strike at the heart of the Vorath vessel. "Captain, we can't hit them conventionally without risking our entire crew," Jorik warned. "We need to be unpredictable." Mara's lips curved into a grim smile. "Then we give them something they can't anticipate. We strike where it hurts most, and when they think we're cornered, we are." The Resolute darted forward, weaving through a hailstorm of laser fire. The Vorath flagship unleashed volleys meant to obliterate them, but Mara's crew had learned, adapted, and evolved with each attack. Explosions rocked both ships, illuminating the void with violent flashes of light. Mara activated the boarding sequence. Pods detached, rockets flaring against the darkness. Soldiers launched themselves into the enemy vessel, breaching hulls, sabotaging systems, and creating chaos from within. Overlord Tureks bellowed orders, his voice shaking with fury and disbelief. The humans were attacking with audacity, precision, and ferocity he had never expected. On the bridge of the Resolute, Mara's pulse raced. She knew the outcome hung on a knife's edge. One misstep, one hesitation, and the ship would be destroyed, along with everyone aboard. Yet in the faces of her crew, bloodied, bruised, but unbroken, she saw courage, resilience, and the unyielding determination that defined humanity. The flagship's core glowed ominously as the boarding team sabotaged systems. Mara gave the final command. Trigger the overload, now. The weapon's core erupted, sending violent waves of energy across the Vorath vessel. Explosions ripped through hulls, shattering drones and crippling weapons arrays. Mara watched as the alien flagship faltered, caught in a maelstrom of chaos orchestrated by human ingenuity. Tureks's fury became panic. This cannot be, they are insignificant. Mara's voice was cold, unwavering. Insignificance doesn't mean weakness, and humans never bow. The Resolute pulled back, weaving through debris, flames, and wreckage. Boarding teams returned, battered but alive. The human crew had turned the tide, exploiting every weakness, improvising at every turn, and proving that courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome overwhelming odds. But victory was not complete. Mara sensed the lurking presence, the predator in the void, watching, waiting, and calculating. Its pulse was deliberate, almost contemplative, as if weighing humanity's worth. She exhaled, exhausted but resolute. We've won this battle, but the war is far from over. Whatever watches us, it has noticed humans now, and it will not forget. The battlefield was a shattered tapestry of stars, debris, and fire. The Resolute drifted through the void, battered but unbroken, its hull scarred and smoking. Mara Dax stood on the bridge, jaw tight, eyes scanning the darkness that had become their crucible. The Vorath fleet was in disarray, scattered by the audacity of humans who refused to surrender. Yet the emptiness beyond the wreckage whispered of dangers unseen. The predator, the cloaked vessel, and something far older stirring in the shadows. Lieutenant Jorik Vance exhaled, his hands trembling as he wiped sweat from his brow. Captain, we actually did it. We survived, we. Mara cut him off, voice steady, sharp. Survival is not victory, not yet. The galaxy is watching. Every move we've made echoes farther than we know, and whatever is out there, it knows we exist. The Luminari pulsed beside the bridge, its energy flowing through the ship like liquid starlight. You have passed the trials of immediate danger. Humanity has proven its resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability, but the true challenge approaches. Mara's chest tightened. She had expected this, not because she was prescient, but because survival always demanded anticipation. Then we prepare, she said, voice calm but resolute. Whatever comes, we face it together. Outside, the remnants of the Vorath fleet struggled to regroup. Overlord Tureks, bruised and humiliated, attempted to rally his forces, but the human audacity had shattered their confidence. Mara's tactical feed displayed the chaos, ships drifting, shields failing, and drones exploding in brilliant bursts of fire against the dark canvas of space. Humanity had turned what should have been annihilation into a calculated victory. Captain Vance said, pointing at the sensors, "The Predator, it's watching, still, but it's not attacking, it's waiting." Mara nodded. That waiting was the hardest trial, the unknown, the cosmic intelligence that had judged humanity in silence. She could feel its presence in the void, immense and indifferent, yet attentive. Humans had survived this encounter by courage, wit, and unity. But she knew instinctively that the Predator's attention was no guarantee of safety. It was an acknowledgement, a test yet unfinished. The crew exhaled collectively, some tears streaking their faces, others silent, hearts pounding with relief. They had been outnumbered, outgunned, and facing entities beyond comprehension. Yet against all odds, humans had survived, had fought, and had adapted. Mara looked at each of them in turn, their faces reflecting exhaustion, fear, and unbroken determination. Humanity, in its flawed and beautiful unpredictability, had endured. The Resolute began to stabilize, engines humming, shields flaring faintly under the Luminari's guidance. Mara's hand rested on the console, feeling the pulse of the ship, and through it, the pulse of humanity's resilience. Then came the signal, a deep, resonant hum that vibrated across the void, ancient and impossible. It was not aggressive, but it demanded attention. The Luminari's light pulsed urgently. "It has noticed your species fully. This is only the beginning. The galaxy has changed. The Predator waits. The cosmic balance shifts. Myra's eyes narrowed, jaw firm. Then we rise, we survive, and we will make our mark. Humans do not bow, we do not flee, and we never surrender. The galaxy will know that we exist and that we endure. Outside, stars shimmered coldly, silent witnesses to the human defiance. The Resolute floated through the wreckage of battle, battered yet alive, a testament to courage, intelligence, and the unyielding human spirit. And somewhere in the infinite void, the Predator pulsed once more, watching, calculating, waiting for